Hello everyone, in this video we're going to be looking at the 5th set of fact sheets that have been released for Farming Simulator 25. And we have 3 vehicles and 2 pieces of equipment to go over. So let's take a look at them. First up we have the John Deere C44 1R baler. And we have actually seen this baler before in some gameplay that was showing off the new consumables system where the Ranny Wrap was being loaded into it. I think there was some bow net being put into it as well, but I can't remember exactly because that was a while ago now. Anyway, for the specs, this baler cost £112,500 at the base price, requires 110 horsepower, weighs 6.5 tonnes, and can make and wrap 125cm round bows. Then it has a working speed of 17 km per hour or 11 miles per hour, and also 2 different wheel setups. There's the T404s and the T510s. I'm pretty sure this is the first time we've seen any wheel setups on these fact sheets as well, so that's a bit different to usual. But yeah, this is a nice baler from John Deere to have in the base game, and I'm looking forward to using these balers in FS25 to try out the new bow wrap and net consumables. Moving on, we have the Iseki HJ6130 rice harvester and the Lizard Motors Dragon. And again, we've seen the rice harvester quite a few times now in gameplay and screenshots, whereas this lizard truck is something we only got to see for the first time in the Hutan Pantai map trailer. And a lot of people, including myself, thought this was an Isuzu truck at the start because it does look very similar. But regardless of that, it is a cool truck and we've never had this style of vehicle in the base game before. Going over to the specs, the Iseki rice harvester has 130 horsepower, a 105 litre fuel tank and a 2000 litre capacity. So it's got a very low capacity, but for the size of this machine, I don't think we expected it to hold much. Then it has an 8 km per hour working speed, but there's no conversion into miles per hour on here. So whoever put these fact sheets together obviously forgot to add that on. But I think 8 km per hour converts to 4 or 5 miles per hour. Anyway, for the price, this is going to cost us £95,000. Then it has variable CVT transmission with a top speed of 12 km per hour or 8 miles per hour. Then this weighs 5.6 tonnes and obviously it can harvest rice. So they're the specs for this, and to be honest I did think it would cost more than it does. I mean, I know it's only a very small harvester, but with the Oxbow ones being so expensive, I just expected this to cost quite a lot as well. But I'm glad it doesn't, because at least not every one of the new crops require expensive harvesters. Moving on to the Lizard Dragon, this truck has a 180 litre fuel tank, weighs 4.4 tonnes and has a top speed of 80 km per hour or 50 miles per hour. Then it costs £45,000 at the base price, which is pretty cheap, and has a 3,500 to 7,600 litre capacity, with variable CVT transmission and 170 horsepower. Then it can hold all of the usual crops and other things a trailer can. So this looks to be a pretty handy vehicle to have on your farm, and it will be a lot more useful than a pickup as it can hold the same things as a trailer. Not that it has the same capacity as a trailer, but if we only need to take a few thousand litres somewhere, then this will be perfect. Up next we have the Novag T-Force Plus 950 seeder, which is another piece of equipment we've also seen previously. But Novag is one of the many new brands coming to FS25. And they specialise in seeders, specifically no-till seeders, or as most of us would call them, direct drills, which we can see this one is, as it's planting over an uncultivated field. I'd imagine we'll be getting a few different seeders from Novag as well, because I can't see the brand coming into the game just for this one piece of equipment. And this is actually one of their largest seeders, so if we do get any more from them, they'll almost certainly be smaller than this. Going over to the specs, this seeder requires 415 horsepower, so you're going to need a pretty powerful tractor to use it with. Then it has a 7,700 litre capacity with a working speed of 12 km per hour or 7.5 miles per hour, which is a very specific working speed, and I don't think we've ever seen a point be added onto the speeds of these fact sheets before. Anyway, for the price, this seeder will cost you a hefty £312,000. So it is very expensive. Then it has a 9 metre working width, weighs 18 tonnes and can hold seeds and fertiliser. So we can apply the first stage of fertiliser as we plant the crop, which is always a nice feature to have on seeders as it saves us having to do it separately. And then the crops it can plant are wheat, barley, oat, canola, grass, oilseed radish, long grain rice, peas and spinach. So overall this is a really nice seeder, albeit a very expensive one. But for a direct drill with a 9 meter working width that can both seed and fertilise at the same time, I think it's understandable that it costs as much as it does. On to the last vehicle in this week's fact sheet, we have the Iseki PRJ 8D rice planter, which is yet another vehicle that we've seen before, and it could even be the one we've seen the most of. But it's a cool looking machine with how the saplings stack up on the sides, and this is what we'll be using to plant the normal, or should I say wet rice, which as we can see in this screenshot is the one that's planted in the flooded fields. Moving over to the specs, this rice planter comes in at a very cheap price of £25,500, has 25 horsepower, a 28 litre fuel tank, and a top speed of 20 km per hour or 13 miles per hour. Then it weighs 958 kilograms, has variable CVT transmission, a 274 litre capacity, and a working speed of 8 km per hour or 5 miles per hour. It also holds both seeds and fertiliser, then of course can plant rice. And the fact this can hold both seeds and fertiliser makes me think that the 274 litre capacity will be just for the fertiliser, because this uses saplings rather than seeds and they sit on the side of the machine in trays, so I'd imagine the capacity for them will be separate. It's good to know we can fertilise as we plant with this as well, because I was wondering how we'd put fertiliser on the flooded fields. Obviously we still don't know about how the second stage goes on, unless the rice only needs to be fertilised once. Maybe it does, but that's something we'll have to wait to find out about. But yeah, that's the specs for the planter, and I'm surprised how cheap the equipment is for rice. To buy both the planter and harvester will cost under $150,000, so it won't be expensive for us to try out the new rice crop at all. Anyway, we've looked at all of the vehicles and equipment now, so that brings us to the end of this week's fact sheets. We got to see the specs for some nice machines today though, and these fact sheets will be coming out every Friday up until the game's released on November 12th. So the next set of these will be out tomorrow, then we'll have a few more of them to go over before the game's out. But that's everything for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, let me know by leaving a like and feel free to subscribe so you never miss another video.